Hey y'all, this is what I think here. Today I'm going to be reviewing the book Horrid High by Payal Kapadia. So this is a children's book. It's 10 plus, which I think is an appropriate age rating after reading this book. And it's like this fantasy book where Forgotten, the main guy, he's a 11-year-old kid who is sent to Happy High, which is a boarding school where dropouts, runaways, and children that you don't want to see, like you can just drop your kid in and not care about them, like you are not going to be bothered. And that is a key part of this book, that it's a key part of this whole idea that these kids by nature are like nobody wants these kids, so they're gonna have to find their own way in life. And the school does the opposite of teaching these kids how to survive, because a common theme is the adults, every single adult in this book except like Mr. Makewell, does not like children. They actually despise children with like a burning passion. Which it's very funny because this entire book is like this cast of over exaggerated, over the top characters, which is what makes this book work. And then you have Ferg, who's in the middle of all of this, which is like our anchor, our neutral ground. But he's also weird in his own ways, right? Everyone in this book has their own quirks and unique things, which adds to this whole charm and character of the book. So like I said, it's very imaginative. You have Miss Verbose, who teaches English, and her way of teaching English is making them read from the dictionary. Then you have Master Minus, who really loves his hair. And his way of teaching maths is by making everyone count every single thing. And it basically, their entire goal is to suck the joy out of education, because they believe that children should not be educated. Like children are like vermins in their eyes. Like if you take like the characteristics of Principal Trunchbull, and then you just made like her personality but in different subject teachers, is the kind of the vibe that you get from the students, or sorry, not the students, the teachers and the adults here in the book. And it's a very interesting concept, and the book runs with it, and the students are really interesting as well. So there's a lot to cover in students wise. You have like Tammy Telltale, Memser, I think that's how you say it. And then a couple others as well. There's like so many characters. I forgot some of them. We also have Ferg's friend. I forgot her name, and she's also pretty cool as well. She has her own subplot, but I think my favorite character would be Granny Grit, because she comes in about more or less halfway through the book, and she is kind of like the turning point of the book. She is the plot driving character that changes the book, and I'm not gonna spoil too changes the course of where the story is gonna go. I'm not gonna spoil too much, but she is a really pivotal character, and I like her character arc. Her character arc, apart from Tammy's, is probably my favorite. Tammy's is probably my favorite character arc, because I think she's quite well written for a side character. And another thing, right? Each like student or teacher that's introduced, mainly the students, they have their own very tiny backstory. Ferg probably has the biggest one, seeing as he's the major character. So does Granny Grit, because she's one of the major adults in the story as well, right? So apart from that, like they have their own tiny backstories that creates this very cohesive world. But the only thing I don't like about this book, if there was anything to criticize about this book at all, is the fact that it's a bit predictable. Like once Granny Grit enters, you can kind of see where the story is going to go. You can kind of see what's going to happen. But despite that, despite its predictable nature, it's the way in which those events play out. It's the way in what chaotic, what unique, wacky situation the author is going to throw at us, and present this otherwise very straightforward, already done plot line to us that makes it so interesting to read. And like I said, it's very funny. Recurring theme, I said that a lot, but like the puns, right, and alliteration. So Forgotten is forgotten. And then you have another one, Nitya Not Enough. She's another person, and wouldn't you know it, she never feels like she's not enough. And there's this, and Mr. Makewell is a really nice character, because he's kind of this like outside perspective, because Horrid High is very isolated from everyone else, which is why they're allowed to get away with this mistreatment of students, right? Once you get into the book, you see how the students are given like horrible food with like insects in them, and they're made to sleep from like chains hanging from the wall, and you can kind of see why Mr. Makwell's perspective is important, because he's an outsider. He's lived a normal life. He understands what education is supposed to be, and he's sort of this like beacon of hope and justice. Yeah, so overall, I really like this book. I love the characters. I love the humor sense and how everyone's over the top and exaggerated. The only thing I really don't like is the predictable nature, but I think it could be forgiven because one, it's a kid's book, alright? And also, two, it's more so not the story that's important here, but the way the characters deal with the situation at hand. So I think for that, it's a really good book. I give this a 9 out of 10. You should read this. It's obviously for kids, but maybe for like adolescent, like the book recommends 10 plus, which I agree with. But yeah, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.